Are we live? I think we're live. I don't know. Anyways, welcome to Thursday edition Strike, where we kind of just sit back, relax, and have a conversation. I pinned the link to jump in if you want to jump in. Again, you don't have to, but it's there. So I was busy running some errands for family, so it took me a little later to get here than I thought it was going to. So next time I should just not schedule anything in advance. That's how my day's going. Right now, I watched the committee hearing, the subcommittee hearing this morning for South Carolina for H3094, which is the open carry with permit bill. And I swear to God, if another asshole that's anti-gun that says, think of the children, I'm going to shove their webcam or microphone up their ass so far they'll be shitting USB cord for a week. Because I'm sick and tired of, think of the children. Could you come up with a different reason other than think of the children? Because, quite honestly, that shtick is getting old. Pisses me off that only, out of all the people that talked today, you know, that the people they heard in the committee, that the committee heard, of the citizens, only one guy was pro-gun. One! So, Mr. Refinacious here.
What's up, guys? Oh, is my headset not working?
No, your headset's working fine.
That's why it's not working.
You can't hear us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Awesome. What's up, guys?
So, I mean, whether you guys agree with open carry or not, that's irregardless of the point. I think it should be allowed with a permit right now in South Carolina because it's either with a permit or you don't have open carry at all. And honestly, you know, I'm tired of hearing from people in North Carolina telling me, "Oh, we're the better of the Carolinas because we have open carry because you can open carry with your concealed carry permit." And I'm like, that's great, but down here in South Carolina, we don't have to have a permit to buy a fucking handgun.
I've lived in both, and North Carolina is the better of the two, but not because of open carry, although open carry is pretty cool.
I mean, I went to Arizona, and I open carried in Arizona, and I liked it, you know, and nobody bothered me. Nobody said anything. You know, there was a bunch of people open carrying where I was, and I had no problems. I couldn't have felt safer, in fact. Because I knew I was around like-minded individuals. Now, but the point is that if we don't have open carry and we're not allowed to have if we don't have it and people aren't around it, then all the ignorant assholes are just going to be afraid of guns for the rest of their freaking lives.
That's why I'm a proponent. Oh,
go ahead, Squib.
Cut you off.
Oh, go ahead.
That's why I'm a proponent of open carrying at a rally if your state law allows it.
Right.
Because you normalize it. Look at us. There's 1,000 of us standing in the courtyard in front of the Capitol building. We've got more firepower than the state police department across the street. We're not breaking the law. We're not threatening anybody, and nobody's in any danger. If anything, walking through here, you're probably safer. And
Joe Biden doesn't like.
Yeah, well, at the rallies I've gone to where people open carried, law enforcement was never hostile with us. You know, on occasion you get some dirty looks from a few of them, but for the most part, they were real positive. And, you know, I've seen some stuff that's a little bit.
Are you sure those are dirty looks, or are those looks of jealousy and envy because they don't have those guns?
You know, walking past 8 cops on horseback and you've got an AK slung over your shoulder and they all have sidearms. Maybe it's jealousy. I don't know, but
I just play devil's advocate there, you know.
Barf. But I will say this, though. I have seen a little bit of behavior from our side at some of these events that is borderline. And it's like, guys, you got to be good ambassadors or you're going to be the reason. You're going to give them the reason. Yeah. So, and I know there's some people that have never gone to a rally or their state allows open carry and they don't believe in it. They don't agree with it. Nobody's putting an arm behind your back and saying you have to show up at the rally with a gun or that you have to open carry if your state allows it with or without a permit.
Right.
It's a choice, just like choosing to carry or not carry, right? But the thing is, if you are going to open carry, or if you've never gone to a rally and you're not sure, go to a rally with no gun or conceal carry. Watch everybody open carry, get a feel for it, and then the next time you go, maybe you'll be more comfortable open carrying. But if we normalize it, like what you're talking about, Strike, then people won't necessarily look at it the way they look at it.
Right, and look at some states that have normalized it, like Arizona. They've had it for how many years? Granted, they've had constitutional carry as well, but they had open carry before they had constitutional carry. And look at how it's happened there. It hasn't really people have just gone on with their lives, whether people are carrying a gun or not.
Yeah, Black Cat, I've open carried in Pennsylvania. Obviously, not as much as you, but it is a good feeling. It really is. And you know what? Those state cops in Harrisburg were so pro 2A. I was really I don't want to say surprised. I was just.
Were you taken back?
No, I don't know how to explain it. Like I wasn't stunned or taken back or surprised. I was just, I guess I was really just happy about that. How down to earth and how 2A, pro 2A they were, and just how they weren't, they were professional, but they weren't, playing the whole, I'm going to throw my power and authority around kind of card, that sort of thing.
Right. Right. Well, you're going to have a little bit of that with some law enforcement, regardless. So,
I had a weird thing happen today. Speaking of law enforcement,
go for it.
I got pulled over, but it was because the cops said somebody's been calling for 2 weeks saying that I'm running the stop sign there, and I was like, "But I stopped. I'm not. I'm not trying to argue. I apologize. Do you need my ID?" And the guy was like, "Are you carrying a firearm?" I was like, "Yes. I need to tell you I'm carrying a firearm." He was just like, "Okay." And I was like, can I reach for it? And he's like, "Yeah." And so I reach for it and give him that, ID, the freaking insurance, and the concealed carry card. He looks at that for a second. And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he gives it back. He's like, "Well, I gotta go run you." And then the other guy's talking, about how they've been doing a sting or something to see if I'm running that stop sign, and they just saw it. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I stopped there. I apologize. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm not trying to argue. I apologize. You know what I mean? It just tried to be, because I'm like, there's no reason to argue with them. It's like, either you get the ticket and you fucking pay it, or you go to court. You know what I mean? So that shit works. Anyways, yeah, the guy popped right back. He was like the sergeant or somebody, and they were both real nice and real professional. And it was a real fucking in and out deal. And the guy was like, "You have no priors. I'm giving you a warning." It's like, all right, appreciate that. I'll start taking a different fucking route, making sure I'm hitting those stop signs properly, I guess. Because I was like, do I need to count, or what am I doing wrong here? I'm fucking New York stopping.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I remember when I went to Humvee school, I stopped at a stop. I had the, guy grade me. He's got the clipboard in the passenger seat and he's grading me. I stopped and went, and he says, "Pull over here." And he goes, "No California stops." And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You stopped, you paused, and then you went forward. That's a California stop." I looked at him and I go, "I'm from Michigan." Really, I'm from North Carolina. But I said, "I'm from Michigan." He goes, "Okay, then no Michigan stops. But around here going stop, 2, 3, go is normal." So did you do?
Hell, I looked left and right. That's what I don't understand is how could I clear the intersection and actually make it through and not have stopped? None of that makes any sense because it's one of those kind of corners where you got to stop and look.
Oh, okay.
So I don't freaking know. Oh, it could be right where the fucking cop was, and maybe that's where he's talking about. Because it's like it's a weird fucking street past a mechanic shop, and you got to take a right, and then immediately it turns left onto another street. You see what I mean? And there's train tracks there, so that could be what he's talking about.
Well, do you have a very common vehicle, common color?
Oh no, it's probably me. I go that route for every day for, you know what I mean, the past 2 weeks, like he was talking about, where it's like, motherfucker. I didn't say any of that. I was real polite about it. Anyways, like they were super professional and like it was nice. Like I said, the guy instantly could tell because I did the thing where you just sit there and you roll the windows down, you fucking turn it off immediately, you know, and just look forward. You get what I mean, and try to be non-confrontational because it's like, dude, I got to get home to my family.
Right.
I'm trying to start a fight with the cops over a fucking speeding ticket or whatever they want, and I don't know. I just wanted to, you know what I mean, relay that. It's like, oh, there's a case of like they gave me a fucking warning, which isn't like obviously the greatest. I don't want a fucking warning from government, but I'm like, at least they were nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, at least they're nice about it.
Yeah, maybe.
Like I mean, I said, maybe if he wanted to be a dick, he could have just taken you out, and put you in handcuffs. You know?
Exactly.
And
he could have wanted to inspect my weapon. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it was much appreciated.
So there's that. So apparently, Black Cat Outdoors is talking about how some dude's 50 cal blew up in their hands today. Ballistics. Good for them.
Huh.
No, not obviously not good for them. I hope they make a full recovery if they got hurt. But still, you know, they did something wrong, didn't they? Did he load it improperly, or was he using bad loads or something? I don't know the skinny on that, so I can't comment. I mean, Black Cat.
I'm trying to look at the video right now, but of course it's got ads.
Oh my God, Squid can't live without those ads.
It's a 20-minute video. Can we just skip to the good part?
You see, Squib's got the constant case of give me the fast forward button.
Oh, wow, dude. He looks like you after that mainspring cut you open.
No, my hand wasn't that bad.
He's in a cast.
I didn't have a cast. I just had stitches.
There's an M2 barrel sitting on the table. I don't think it was a 50 Action Express. This is a 50 BMG. Yeah. Oh, wow. This is different. It looks like a 50 BMG rifle. Yeah. But it looks like it's got a machine gun barrel, but the rest of it's rifle. Serbu? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah. There's a Mark Serbu's 50 BMG. Yeah, he makes a custom 50 BMG bolt action. Was it Serbu Firearms? Yeah, probably the BFG 50A or the BFG 50, I think. Because you said it was bolt action, right? Yeah. It's probably the 50 that blew up. Yeah, it looks like it. Well, there goes $2,520. So, here, let me load the video up real quick. Let's see.
Oh, there you go. My shit was muted. Did he have to go to the hospital? What happened?
Yeah, he probably did. You don't get a cast with that hospital.
Oh man. Yeah, that whole thing sounds like a terrible combination. Things to happen.
Oh yeah, that's a Serbu BFG 50.
Go to 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Ouch.
Okay, I'll go to 4 minutes 30 seconds. Here, let's see.
Oh. Kudos to him for showing this. I'm sure he's going to get lots of views. This is a moneymaker, but not a hell of a way to yeah. But it shows you just what can happen under bad circumstances.
Oh my God. He's lucky to be alive right there. That thing exploded into like 15 different pieces. You see that? My God.
Man.
I granted, it's his YouTube channel, and I'm not going to show his video on my YouTube channel, obviously, because there's licensing rights and whatnot with that. But go check that out if you haven't seen it. I think Black Cat, Kitty Cat, put it out in the chat, so check that out.
And the thing is, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, operating a firearm is a safe thing to do if you practice safety. Yeah. I'm not sure what exactly caused this, if it was defective ammo.
No, and he mentioned he was firing hot rounds, and he said he didn't realize how hot this round he was using was.
So it was rated. His firearm wasn't rated for this.
I think he may have been using machine gun rounds in a bolt action. And that might be because some older machine gun or some older ammunition that is rated for that are higher pressure for machine guns, so they run and function properly. You don't necessarily want to put those in bolt actions or semi-autos.
I don't remember them having anything about not running the same stuff we ran in the M2s and the XM218s in our Barretts. Well,
the thing is, the semi-auto Barretts, they're rated for higher pressure, whereas I'm not sure that the Serbu BFG50 is rated for Milsurp 50 BMG.
Did you guys see that armor piercing test where they used the Mosin, and he had some kind of special armor piercing? It was just like you were talking about, some super super duper hot, like actual AP ammo from like back in the day, from like a freaking aircraft.
We got some more info from Black Cat. Black Cat says he was firing incendiary 50 BMG, the rare. He fired several and didn't have problem, and then he fired that one. So maybe he had an incendiary round go pop inside the barrel.
He said normally you're talking about chamber pressure of 55,000 psi, and in order for the damage that it did, it had to have been in excess of 85,000 psi. So you're coming close to doubling. That'll do it. If you were reloading and you put a double charge in something,
yeah.
Didn't the U.S. government do a bunch of that overseas, supposedly?
What?
Sabotage. I've seen videos on that where U.S. Supposedly like spec ops or whatever, special, CIA or whoever, like supposedly, malicious intent was used and they sabotaged ammo where it would blow up guns.
What, they're giving the enemy bad ammo?
That's what I'd heard. Like I say during Vietnam, different times, in history.
I'm going to call plausible bullshit on that, because in certain circumstances, you may use captured weapons and ammunition. So if you give them
that'd be horrible.
ammunition and our people get a hold of it,
that'd be the worst. No, like I said, I've seen video on that.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't discount it. I mean, if you're out in the field, and I'm just throwing a scenario here, Squib, so correct me for any of the military stuff. But if you're out in the field and you run out of ammo, and the only thing lying there is maybe an enemy soldier's gun, if you're out of ammo, just pick that up, right?
If you're out of ammo, if your weapon goes down, if for some reason you lose your weapon, yeah, you've got to use whatever you can get your hands on.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like you're carrying. It's funny. In the manual, it says that I was supposed to carry my M16 along with my M60, and I've never seen anybody carry both. I wasn't about to. I carried a sidearm, but it actually says it in the manual. It's like this is not some first-person shooter video game. You're not encumbered with 15 different weapons. But
right.
when you go hand to hand, if you're out of ammo and there's nothing else you've got, then you've got your bayonet and the butt of the rifle. And then after that, it's whatever you've got, a knife. You can you pick up a rock. You use your Kevlar. you're going to use your bare fist. You're going to use, your foot. You're going to do whatever you got to do to survive. So, picking up an enemy weapon is.
I mean, if you have nothing left, I mean, it's either that or picking up the nearest sharp stick, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and that sure beats dying. But now, when I was in, we weren't trained on how to use enemy weapons. Right. So I never actually fired an AK until after the military as a civilian. Now I've talked to some guys that were in, way after me, and they said, yeah, they get familiarization training. We actually got familiarization training with allies' weapons, but not enemy weapons.
Now, were you in late enough that you still got bayonet training?
Yeah, I wouldn't see why they wouldn't do bayonet training today.
Apparently, from what I was told, is they took that out of the curriculum for basic training.
We're probably crying and using their pink card.
Yeah. Oh, the stress card. Yeah, I heard about that.
Wow, Squid gets really quiet with that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an embarrassment. Yeah, we did bayonet. No. We did bayonet.
I agree with you.
Yeah, we did bayonet training, knife training, stuff like that, and then beyond that, we did some stuff later with it. But bayonets aren't used in the traditional bayonet charge sense. That's not a.
Yeah, they use more as knives these days, right?
No. I mean, if you've got the bayonet on the rifle, you're in a position where it's a hand-to-hand, man-on-man. This isn't some sort of bonsai charge,
right?
So yeah. See,
because I talked to my uncle when I visited my family a while back. My uncle said, "Yeah, it would have been nice if we had gotten these M9 bayonets, but when when he was in Desert Storm, they only issued them M7s."
Yeah, we had M7s; they worked just fine.
Yeah, but the thing is, he was in the tank corps. He was in charge of a tank. And I'm like, why would they issue you that if you're in a tank? And he gets like, well, we actually have to get out of the tank eventually.
Yeah, pretty much everybody got a bayonet. We didn't get a fighting knife. Right. Now, those were available from supply. We never got any. If you wanted a knife, you had to go buy it yourself. But you would just put your M7 on your cartridge belt, and that would be your knife.
But granted, my uncle was Army, and you were Marine.
Yeah, Army's got budget.
Yeah,
but I mean, as far as in the tank.
Right.
They're going to have their personal weapons, and I imagine they could probably request to get sidearms as well. Now, in the Bradley, they've got those cut down M16s that were the port firing weapons, so they actually had a gun port they could slide open or something, but they were shortened there. They didn't have they just had the buffer tube on there because of the confined space inside the Bradley.
Yeah, primarily he was driving an Abrams. But before that, earlier, before he was before Desert Storm, he was training in a Bradley. So, or whatever they had at the time. I don't know if they were using Bradleys that early or not, but
yeah, they came into play in the mid '80s.
Yeah, so it might have been a Bradley or something just exactly like it,
Well, before the Abrams, everybody was using the M60. During Desert Storm, the Marine Corps had to borrow Abrams tanks off the Army because they just didn't have any. So there was a mix of M1s and M60s over there fighting the Iraqi Army with the Soviet armor.
Soviet armor from like the 70s.
Yeah, well, one of the big advantages we had over them is we could fire on the move, and they couldn't.
Yeah, I heard about that. He was mentioning that. He wasn't in the front guard in Desert Storm. He was in the rear guard. So most of the time, if anything, he would just get fired at by small arms. But he was never his unit was never in direct contact with enemy tanks, unfortunately.
And we also had night vision. They didn't have that. We had some technological advantages over them. They had numbers. And they had more experience because they'd been fighting with the Iranians, and this is their home turf. So they've got, the person on the defense usually has the advantage.
Yeah.
But we overwhelmed them with superior training and superior attitude and superior equipment. And the thing is that after having all the airstrikes and everything else, I think those people they didn't have as much fight in them as we did. That's one thing. That's one of the reasons I guess I'm not too happy about things like stress cards and stuff. The American, military has always been a fighting force to be reckoned with. And if we make them soft, the enemy will take advantage of that. The enemy might not have the technology we have, but if they're cold and ruthless and we're a bunch of sissies, you don't pull a stress card out in the middle of combat.
I like how you said that. That was great. That was great.
Could you imagine somebody, puts their hands over the top of the fighting hole, not because they're surrendering. They're going to put them together like a timeout. They're like a coach calling timeout and go timeout. I mean, how do you say timeout in Arabic? Right?
Hold on. If it looks like that one card in soccer, they might get away with that. Because even the Arab nations like soccer.
Well, all I'm saying is you don't call timeout in combat. I mean,
right.
the days of calling a truce so you could pick up your wounded and dead, and
that's over.
That's over. Yeah, that hasn't happened since Christmas of 1914 or whatever.
It's either you beat the other guy back and then pick up your wounded, or vice versa. They beat you back and they pick up their wounded.
And because the face of warfare has changed, and we're fighting enemy combatants and not necessarily an organized military force with Geneva Convention rules and things like that. I'm not saying that won't ever happen again, but because of the face of warfare over the past couple decades, I would think, if anything, they would train these kids to be tougher than us. But from the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like it.
It's not just Geneva Convention; it's also Hague Convention too.
I'm not saying that they're ineffective. I'm just saying that as an old Marine, I'm not in favor of anything that makes it easier, unless we're talking about maybe reducing the number of injuries that happen during training, or likelihood of somebody dying during training. If you can make it safer but still keep the realism up, or build that fighting spirit, that esprit de corps, all that stuff, then I'm for that. I'm for things like that. But if it's going to just make these kids soft, they're going to come home in a body bag, and mom don't want that.
No, you're right. You're right. So, no, we agree on more things than we thought, Squib. Figure that one out.
I need another glass of wine. I'll be back.
Squib is going to go drink. Okay, there we go. So, what else is going on? Anything else going on with you, FNH?
Did I tell you I put 100 rounds through the SKS with the Tapco mag yesterday?
Were Tapco mags not working in it?
No, I'd never tried it. It actually took me a long time.
Are you talking about the duckbills?
Yeah. I wanted to buy just one for that rifle, just to have a 20 round. I kept the original magazine, obviously, but.
I want one of those metal
cool.
duckbill, one of those metal duckbill drums for the SKS. Because why not?
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah.
Oh no, South Korean.
South Koreans made some. I think the Russians made some. The Chinese, I know, made some.
Oh, yeah. I had no idea. But yeah, so. This is a Chinese Type 56 is the one I got. And it's pretty cool. It's all numbers matching. It's got the milled trigger group. And the milled trigger group is actually real nice in it. I was really surprised. I was paying attention to how it shot yesterday, and it's a nice trigger.
All you can find right now is the Chinese, the Korean SKS drums.
Hell, 20 rounds for this fucking rifle seems like a shitload. At least when you're not trying to blast off ammo like crazy fast, you know.
How about 75?
Oh yeah,
75 rounds would be why?
Can't imagine how hot that poor little rifle would get.
I know the upper handguard would be pretty hot. Ghost Shadow says at Night Strike they dropped grenade training in navigation what I went through, Boot. Had to run 3 miles. Can't remember how many push-ups, sit-ups, and pull-ups. Well, go Shadow. I'm glad you got through it. E-Rock is out there. What's going on, E-Rock? Guys, if you want to jump in and comment, the link to the panel is at the top. So just jump in and, we can talk about whatever. Doesn't matter. As long as we don't piss Squib off.
So, Mystic, yeah, I got a taste for wine when I was over in France training with Armateur. I got a taste for French beer and French wine. And then when I came back to and I started trying out some other stuff. Like I tried some wine in Italy, and I can't remember if I tried some in Spain. When I got back, I started trying out other wines. And actually, I should have probably cracked open a North Carolina wine just to spite you, Night Strike. But I'm just drinking an inexpensive California wine right now.
Well, that's okay. You're from the wrong Carolina.
I used to live down there in Beaufort.
Yeah, I live in between Charleston and Beaufort, so technically. But that's because I live further out, so I can have land I can shoot on. So.
See, wine is an acquired taste. Some people like it, some people don't. You've got sweet wine, you've got dry wines, then you've got stuff that's like thick and syrupy, like port or mead. But it's an acquired taste. And really, I think one of the best ways to get into wines is to pair it with a meal, like a red wine. Tonight I had red wine because I made spaghetti, right? So something like that kind of goes together, like white wine with fish or chicken, or a good red wine with steak. I like to have a nice Beaujolais with a steak on the grill. It's a good combination. You can have wine stand alone, but there are certain things that you can have it with. And then there's dessert wines like sangria, which is just a fruit wine. And I mean, it's kind of one of those. People will like that.
Would you ever accept sangria from a person they made it themselves in their sink or some bullshit with the water, and they made it themselves, and like you moved into their old house? Like, would you ever accept that as a gift and be like, glug, 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 glug?
No.
The only time I've had somebody else's homemade wine was where I didn't see them make it.
And even then, you'd want to run it through a filter anyways, just in case.
Well, yeah. So when we moved into this house, like I said, the owners, we got to meet them. And I guess like another couple bid on the place, and they picked, me and my wife and my children. That was nice. Like, because apparently we both fucking put in about the same offer. And it was weird. Like, the guy was all happy that he made this one. He made 2 different types of sangria, like a red one and a yellow one, I believe, and gave them to us. And then, don't tell anybody. We totally fucking threw those away. We were like, oh, thank you so much.
Now, see, I like the muscadine wines.
Creepy.
You can find those down there in South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia. Yeah. They're sweet. And I've had people who couldn't stand wine and never had muscadine wine before. They're like, this is pretty good. And I've had other people that are, I don't want to call them wine connoisseurs, but they're amateur wine connoisseurs like me. And they've tried it for the first time and spit it out and said, this is cough syrup. And that's what I mean. It's an acquired taste. And sometimes your tastes kind of change. Like, I was drinking mostly European wines for the longest time. And then I started trying more and more domestic wines. And every now and then you'll find a winery in the middle of nowhere that has got something that's just kind of unique about it. And, making different wines or any sort of alcohols have now become a thing all over the country. And when I travel, I try to pick up stuff. I mean, when I'm in Pennsylvania, whether I'm open carrying or not, I always try to bring back some Yingling. But it's just something where you get a taste for it. And if you remember the brand and it's not something that's available where you're at, you'll look for it when you can.
No, I like wine. Wine's good. So
I got a.
I don't drink often.
Manus Blackbeard.
Oh, I don't drink often, unfortunately. So
I drink bourbon. Kentucky bourbon.
I drink lots of Kentucky bourbon. Well, not lots, but I drink it. Yes.
I drink some Kentucky bourbons, but I also drink Michigan bourbon.
No. See, that you drink Michigan whiskey because, as it was taught to me, the only bourbon is made in Kentucky, and if it's not made in Kentucky, it's whiskey.
That's an urban legend.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's a vehement Kentuckian saying no. Only bourbon is made in Kentucky.
Yeah, you might have to go down there to Kentucky and kick those people's ass because they literally told me that too.
So I used to think that, and we've got a bourbon that's made here in Michigan that I really like, and I did a video on it, and I was doing research before the video because I'm like, how can I call this a bourbon when I thought all bourbon has to be from Kentucky? So I looked it up, and according to the government regulations on alcohol, what you can call it, what percentage it has to have, where it can come from, blah, 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 all this stuff. Bourbon does not have to come from Kentucky. It's how it's made, it's how it's aged, it's what alcohol content it has. So even though somebody might say that's blasphemy, I guess it's like having an AR-15 and 7.62x39 or something, right?
Probably.
Yeah. So I had to research that for a video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, I was told that by an old Kentuckian whose family had been making bourbon in Bourbon County, Kentucky, for the last 100 or so years, probably longer.
Poor guy just backflipped in his grave.
Yeah, he did, because that was like 20-something years ago.
Yeah, I figured it was a long time ago.
20-something more years ago when STRYKE was just a little STRYKE. Well, just a lad. So.
Hey, have you seen the Manus Blackbeard AR-15 dry fire tool?
No, I have not.
So this goes along with their they make the laser system that's like there's a target you set up or something,
mm-hmm.
right? And it goes through your phone.
Yeah,
or
they've got a
like
trainer system. Yeah, and it'll basically show you. I don't have any of those. I think they've got several of those products now. But yeah, that'll help train you for exactly what you're doing with the gun when you have it on target and you break the shot. Basically, is what those are. But this one is different in the way that it's specifically for the AR-15. And what it does is it resets your trigger so that you can just infinitely pull your trigger and it'll just keep resetting it. Like there's no charging handle bullshit or anything. So you can just dry fire like crazy in your like home or wherever you dry fire.
Does it do it mechanically or
and
do you have...
Yeah, it's mechanic.
Okay, because Budget did a video
it's rechargeable.
When he was at Tulsa, he did a video. He found a company that's got the laser, but you also put CO2 in the magazine.
Oh
it's got a different barrel and all that, and it'll cycle the gun. So I'm like, okay, this looks really interesting. I've seen a setup like that where you've had a hose attached to the fake gun, right?
This doesn't require any CO2.
Okay, this doesn't. Okay,
yeah, this doesn't require anything. This you can grab your AR-15 like out of your safe or rack and literally pull out the bolt, the charging handle, or the BCG charging handle, and the fucking mag, and you insert their combo BCG charging handle. It looks like I won't say on this show, but anyway, you insert that into your gun,
and you have to use some magazine too.
The magazine is your battery. Yeah, the magazine is their battery. They're both red, so you can see through the charging handle's red. You can see through the port is red. I haven't tried to close the port. I don't know why you would, because you're not going to be able to open it very easy.
Right.
But and then the magazine is, like I said, the same shade of red. So it's real nice. You can grab whatever AR-15 and just throw it in there. And so then they have the different options. That's like, I think it was $100 for one just that resets the trigger. Like all it does is just reset the hammer. You see what I mean? And they say you can do it like 10 times in a second. So, and I haven't been able to outrun it. And I've tried it on 2 different lowers and, of course, 2 different uppers because I just grabbed 2 different ARs. And I noticed the laser was off when I put it in my FN-15. But you're able to adjust it. That's what's cool, like with the Allen screw or Allen key. And so yeah, I got it adjusted, and it's really cool. Like so, like I said, for 100 you can get it where it just resets the trigger. It was like 150, I think, something like that. Maybe it was 200. Either way, there's a model with red laser. I got the model with green laser, which ended up being like 270 because I'm in Missouri, and I guess they have an office or some shit here. And they also have an infrared version. So if you're a person with nods.
I saw the video Budget did of the system that he looked at Tulsa, and I was kind of interested in that, so I priced it out. And with one canister of CO2, because it doesn't come with one, it comes with an adapter, but it doesn't come with one. Out the door, I don't know if, and that's with their shipping charge, which I thought was kind of ridiculous on top of the expense of this thing. And they've got additional shipping too, depending on where you live. But so I don't know if they charge sales tax, but with shipping and one CO2 canister, it was $510 for this system for my 1911.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can see why they want that much, especially right now with ammo being scarce. If ammo wasn't scarce, I don't know that they could ask that much.
Well,
you have to check.
That's supposed to mimic the feel of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It cycles
the
and
feel
everything.
of your firearm cycling. Yeah. So you don't get like a real recoil, I don't believe, but you probably get something.
It looked like it did something. I mean, the slide moves, so that's recoil, right?
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. You're getting something. Something's definitely going on. Versus this has nothing, but it was like 270. Well, think about it. Like I'm saying, for if you don't care about the laser and you just want your EOTech or whatever you have on your gun, your iron sights, and you're just going to dry fire on a paper target, because it's fucking fun and cool, you can do it for $100. But like I said, I wanted the green laser because it's highly visible. So, I mean, I had my buddy over. We were dry firing on the range. It was pretty cool.
So out there in the chat, Outcast wants to know what I think about 2-year-old kids being forced to have a mask on in public in his area. There's nothing to think about it because it's not I since this thing has started, I have had people call me and text me from other states going, I heard it was so bad, or I heard this on the news, or but I don't know where this stuff is on the national news, but so far there's been a lot of stuff about Michigan that has been total BS.
I remember hearing about that Flint, Michigan water thing.
Yeah, 20,000 houses in one part of town, a really old part of town, were affected by it. The rest of the city, the rest of the county, the rest of the state weren't affected by it. And it really wasn't Flint that did it. It was Detroit. It was Detroit that did it. And that's just it. I hear all the time, oh, man, is the water safe? And it's like, dude, it got blown out of proportion like so many other things. Nobody comes here, right? We're not a pass-through state. We got tourism here, but it's mostly set up for the locals, right? So nobody comes here, so nobody knows.
Well, hold on. People go through your state to go up to Canada, though, don't they?
I mean, ever since 9/11, going to Canada has been a hassle, and why? I haven't been to Canada in over 20 years.
Okay, I was just asking. Because that's the only sort of traffic you get.
I've been up to Minnesota several times in my life, and that's the closest to Canada I think I ever want to be.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not that there isn't anything to do here, but the tourism in Michigan's really set up for all the money in my area to go to the rest of the state, where people go to retire or go to get away from things. So I'm not saying there aren't other things in the state or other, industries or whatever, but it's the out-of-state plates you see are Ohio, Ontario, and Florida, and the people from Florida are just coming back to visit family because they moved the hell out of here to someplace warmer. So it's just it's not a state that you drive through to get anywhere. It's not a state that brings in tourism from the outside. We brought Hollywood here, and then we pulled their tax deferment, and they all bailed for Mississippi and Louisiana, so we lost that. So I'm not surprised that something on the national news says that something bad's happened here, and it hasn't. I don't care.
always blows me away. Like I said, I'm in Missouri, and it always blows me away when I see people with New York tags or California, either one of those.
I see any of those here, I'm like, go home.
Yeah, get out of here. We don't want your politics. Go on. Yeah.
Okay,
you're gonna be in my
Outcast.
state. You get my state tag.
Outcast, there is no enforcement here. There's no enforcement here. Okay, you can walk right up to a cop, a state trooper, a sheriff with no mask on, and nothing will happen to you. I went to the grocery store twice today. There was a cop car in the parking lot right in front of the entrance. I walked in without a mask. I walked around the store without a mask. I walked back out to my truck. He looked right at me. Didn't do a thing. There's no enforcement. She can say whatever she wants. Everybody's been ignoring her for a year.
Interesting.
I've been doing this thing where I'm abusing the privilege of them like mandating a mask. Like for instance, when I go to Walmart, so I'll take one of those fucking like neck gaiter, whatever face mask things, and I'll pull that like all the way up to my eyes and like fucking pull it up over the back of my head a little bit. I'll put my ball cap on, pull that motherfucker down real tight, then I'll pull my hoodie up. And I'll zip my shit up all the way, and I'll just fucking walk around like that because it's like, okay, now you can't see my face at all. How do you like that? Like totally fucks with people. Oh yeah, and I'll put like earbuds in, so I can, like noise canceling earbuds, so I can't hear them.
There's a real left-hard grocery store on one side of town. It's kind of got some of the trendy stuff and whatnot. And I'll shop there a few times because they've got this brand or that brand or something that they don't have at the other stores. And they were a stickler for this right from the get-go. And I don't give them a whole lot of business, but I thought about walking in there in my gas mask just to be a total dick about the whole thing. Because what's funny is I can go to the grocery store across the street, I can go to the grocery store next door, and they don't say nothing. But if I walk into this grocery store, they'll say something. And it's just... yeah, saying something and doing something are two different things. So
yeah, that's true. All right, let's see what they're saying on the YouTube side. They're saying ignore Lord Farquaad. I have no idea what that means. I guess that's Michigan. Come see the sights of a carless Mackinac Island. Okay.
It's Mackinac.
Mackinac, right.
It's spelled two different ways, but it's the Straits of Mackinac, Mackinac Island, Mackinac City, and depending on who writes it out, it's spelled phonetically or it's pronounced differently. There's only one vehicle on the island that I'm aware of, gas-powered vehicle, and that's an ambulance. Otherwise, you're not allowed to have cars on the island. There are people that live there year-round. They got a lot of money. Then there's some people just live there for the summer, but it's a tourist attraction. They've got a small airport so you can fly in, but for the most part, people take ferries across the Straits of Mackinac.
So what do they use? Golf carts?
No, horses. Horses, bikes, or walk. So as far as I know, the only gas-powered vehicle on the island is one ambulance. I've never actually gone there. I've been to Mackinac City. You can see the island from the city. You can see the island and 2 or 3 lighthouses from the city and the bridge and all that other crap. I just have never gone. Maybe I'll go one of these days. But it's one of those places where I guess it would be a Michigan tourism thing, but you better have lots of money.
Sean said he used to walk into his local Kroger wearing his GP7 mask just to annoy the Karens.
See, okay, if he's done it, then there's probably no excuse for me not doing it.
And he's doing that in Texas.
But see, the thing is, it's just nobody really, you've got a few places where they say, can you put on your mask or please don't come back without a mask, or would you like a free mask? Most places just don't. I walked into one store last week and she said, do you have a mask? And I said, yep, and kept walking. I didn't even, just whatever.
I see what you did there.
Well, I don't blame you. If you don't want to wear the mask, don't wear the mask.
Ooh, listen to what Stacy said. I would be fine with losing sense of smell. I live with snob. Wow. That's harsh. So.
What I like is when I go into a store and most of the people are wearing a mask, and you see somebody and they look right at you and they realize they don't have to, and they pull theirs off.
Right.
That's what I like. They look at me, or I give that look. I give that look to the other person without the mask. I'm like, hey, you know, and that's it. But I'm not saying that you go into one store and it could just be I'm the only one in there without a mask. You go into another store and maybe half the store isn't wearing it. It just depends on what the business is. You know, it's funny is
gun store was like that. I walked in and nobody was wearing a mask, and I looked around, and then the associate walked right up to me. He's like, "Hey, what do you need, man?" And I was like, "Do I have to put my mask on here?" And he was like, "We're not technically making anyone do anything." And I was just like, "Well, I don't have it if you don't have it, bro."
I went to my son's track meet.
Then.
I went to my son's track meet last week, and there was an announcer in the booth over the loudspeaker, and every so often he would say, you know, please wear a mask, make sure kids have a mask on, blah, blah, blah. And most of the people were wearing a mask. I'd say about 10%, maybe 20% weren't. This week I go to the meet. It's at the same school. This time there's nobody in the booth running the loudspeaker. And I'd say 10% of the people had masks on and 90% did not. So nobody reads the signs. If nobody says anything or enough people don't wear it, other people start taking theirs off or go, screw it, I'm not putting mine on. And there are those people that they're afraid to get sick. They're afraid they're going to get arrested. They're afraid they're going to be told to leave. But a lot of it is like peer pressure, like high school. Like you have to dress like the other kids or else you're going to get picked on. And I never fell for that in high school, so I ain't falling for it now.
Right.
Well, instead, for me, it's family peer pressure that I don't want to get my mom sick. Because she's one of those pre-existing condition people, and I don't really believe in the whole thing, but I'm superstitious enough that I don't want to get her sick.
Well, I've gotten it. It's real. I've gotten it.
No.
But you're not dead.
I know.
But I'm not dead.
I'm saying
I'm not dead. But again,
overreported.
Again, remember, I'm in my 30s, whereas if someone in their between 70 years of age to 100 years of age, if they're in that age group, you don't want to get it.
Well, they can stay home then.
Yeah,
then they're not in my way at the store or on the street.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But again, they overreport. It's like yes, my grandmother died this year, but I'll tell you right now, I know what she died of, and it wasn't fucking COVID because she got over COVID.
Yeah, but Strike, according to Dr. Fauci and my governor, you should be dead. As a matter of fact, you are. You're not really here.
Wow. Well,
because everybody who gets it dies and kills 5 more people that are around them. That's what these people who get all the press time are implying. And there's so many people out there that can't put 2 and 2 together that go, oh, it's on TV, it must be true.
Wait, so so if I'm going out there and interacting with people, I'm technically killing people?
In my state, anybody who gets diagnosed with COVID, even if they go back 3 days later and it turns out it's false positive, is 5 people got COVID. So if one person gets it, 5 people got it. So if 100 people today got it, really 500 people got it. If 1,000 people tested positive today, 5,000 people. If one kid in the school tests positive for COVID, and there's 1,000 kids in the school, and each kid has 4 people in their home, 5,000 people got COVID-19 today in Michigan.
I'm not sure that math is right.
No, but that's the way our governor's been doing it to scare people And
that's why you don't listen to her.
But there are those people that just sit in front of the TV and believe everything, right? And then there's the people going, well, if this is a case, where the hell are all the dead bodies? Right?
Yeah,
so
that's what I've been saying.
Oh. Where are all these people?
I think the whole thing's greatly exaggerated too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know anybody that's actually died of it.
Well,
in fact, I'm not even sure I know anybody that's actually had it, like, personally here.
One of my cousins died of it.
I'm in my state.
No.
I'm
in my state locally.
I've had one cousin die from it, but I can't say it was COVID. It was specifically COVID because she was waiting on a transplant for an organ. I forget which one, but she was waiting for a long while. So I think she might have caught it.
My uncle's,
and they put her on a respirator when she asked them not to, and that respirator ended up killing her.
Oh,
I've had 5 or 6 coworkers test positive for it twice, meaning they really had it, and about just as many coworkers test positive or test negative for it twice in a row.
Yeah.
But they thought they had it, so they said you got to get 2 tests in a row before we can let you come back to work.
Yeah.
I've been around these people all the time. Well, I'm around these people all the time, and if I got it, I've never shown any symptoms.
Well, it's weird. It's weird you say it because right before I caught it, I went and took a COVID test, and it said, yeah, you tested positive, so you do have it. And the symptoms haven't set in yet, okay? So I probably did have it. I won't argue that. But after I got better, and I was feeling like 100%. I was feeling great. I went and got another test because I was required to, and they said I still had COVID, and I go, but I feel fine. You know, and my aunt works in a hospital, and I asked her about this, and she said, well, it might still show up in your system, but you probably just had a false positive. You might not be showing any symptoms. So it might have been a false positive. But either way, you know, I had COVID and I recovered. So while it's not fake, it's not fun, but, you know, is it overhyped? Yes, definitely.
See, that's just it. I understand it would be political suicide, but I would have respect for the politician that would get on national TV and say, we overreacted. We thought we were doing the right thing. We weren't sure what was going on. We went to this level, this intensity of precaution because we didn't know. We've had more than enough time to understand this. We've had more than enough time to see the results, and we've had more than enough time to see all the people who have exploited this. And we overreacted. It was a mistake. We need to reopen the country, and we need to put this behind us as a nation. But not one politician at any level has the courage to do that. And that's shameful.
Sean is saying they're under the Warren Bridge, Squib. That's why nobody's crossing into Canada right now.
I don't know what the Warren Bridge is.
The first thing to smell worse than the water. Ooh. Man Sexy says, I thought if the patient denied the treatment, they can't force it on you. I thought so too, but apparently they did it to her anyways. So, but again, you know, that's just how it was. It sucked. It really sucked, but hey, you know, we all got to go sometime.
My uncle has liver disease, and apparently he's been up to the hospital now 5 times to get the liver. And each time, unfortunately, when they have a donor ready that's on life support, that they're, you know what I'm saying, they've made that decision that they're going to harvest that person and let them go. Every time the person lasts more than 20 minutes. And so he doesn't get the liver, and they say the liver's no good after 20 minutes. It's terrible. So imagine that you're on death's door waiting for a fucking liver transplant, and they just keep calling you up to the hospital, and for some reason or another, that liver's no good every time.
If you want to get to the front of the list, you got to have lots of money.
Mm-hmm.
How many politicians and celebrities have drank their liver to death, got a transplant when other people who put in for it way before them couldn't get it, and then they continue drinking and destroy the second liver and get another one. It's all about money, man.
Well, the worst thing is he absolutely did it to himself. It turns out that he'd been drinking a bottle of wine a night for 30 years. And the sad thing is he was doing it in secrecy.
Wow, that's all it took?
So, like, I guess, yep. I guess my aunt worked nights and he would just get trashed at home and fucking throw away the bottle, and she never knew. It's fucking shitty. And the shitty thing is he was like the really cool, funny uncle, and now it's, you know, it's not that anymore. He's like a ghost. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
I think it's like
situation.
Didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, just one of them things. I wish him the best. I miss him, but it's like he's a ghost now. You know what I mean? It's real fucked up. Like, imagine he was the elder uncle, and like I said, he was the funny one. That's it seems like that time has passed right now. It's terrible.
Your Shadow says at Night Strike the livers are actually going to Ted Kennedy. Is he still alive?
No, he isn't. That's part of the irony.
There we go. Okay.
Well, I think it might be kind of like smoking. There's some people that smoke cigarettes for decades and they don't even make it to 60, right? And there's other people that smoke all the way to the end and they die in their 90s, and it's not from
cigarettes,
cancer or lung disease or something else like that. And so I think different things affect, just like this, the COVIDs, it affects different people differently. So, I respect somebody's right to do something to their body that I might not want to do to my body, or I might tell my kids not to do to their bodies or something. As long as I don't have to pay for it, I really don't care, right? As long as it doesn't affect me, I really don't care, because I don't want somebody butting in my life telling me what I can and can't do. And the thing is, there are people that are just affected. Like you're saying, a bottle of wine every night for 30 years. It's a bottle of wine doesn't even get me buzzed.
That's what I was told.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, who knows the real truth of it, right?
Well, I mean, it could be, because
that's what I was told.
Some people are susceptible to different things, right? It's like how medication, when they got the commercials with the medication, and then afterward they read off all the side effects, can cause diarrhea, death, and whatever, right? And it's like, these are side effects that don't affect everybody who takes this, or it's not guaranteed you're going to have any side effects at all. So we're all kind of different in that sense.
Yeah. And on the subject of livers, we got Sean out there saying, what's kind of bizarre is if you harvest 1/3 of a liver, it will eventually grow back. You'd think they'd figure out a way to farm and culture them by now.
Like they just grow them in some sort of tanks like tilapia?
Or they cut a part off and just let it, naturally grow back. It'd be weird. He also said Dr. Fauci could have simply said, "It's hard to tell you the rules of the game when the rules change every day with new information." But he wanted to be an arrogant twat waffle instead.
That crazy old man doesn't have a clue as what he's talking about. I really think, I can't prove it, but I really think that this is about his 15 minutes of fame. Okay, this is his legacy, his 15 minutes of fame, and he could possibly have some investments that are doing well because of this. This is about controlling other people. There are people out there who like to tell other people how to live their lives. They want to say, "Butt out of my life," but they want to tell everybody else how to live their lives. It's like, okay, whatever. I can see him being one of those kind of people, persons as well. But the thing about Fauci is, I've heard that because of his position, he can't be removed. And I have an issue with that. You work for me. You work in the government. Everybody in the government, there should be some way to have them removed short of throwing them in jail or executing them.
You're right. There should. No. But there's not. This is weird.
I'm disappointed in Trump. I'm disappointed that he didn't find some way to muzzle this guy, reassign him, do something, find something, propose a law. I don't care. But he didn't do anything to stop this guy. He criticized him one day, and then he'd say, we get along fine the other day. And it's just like the election. He didn't lift one finger to fight the fraud committed in the election. So I'm disappointed in him for his failure to act or even show that he was attempting to do something about both of those wrongs. But, you know, it's a little bit too late anyhow.
Didn't he get blacklisted and removed from, didn't he get blacklisted and removed off every social media website and all that shit where he really couldn't talk to anybody?
While he was still president, he could go on national TV and he can go, election fraud was committed. I've got this person doing this. I've got this person doing, you know, he never did that. He never came on national TV. And one of the times he was criticizing Fauci, he said, I'm going to find a way to get this guy out. I've got a team working on this and that. There's got to be a way. I'm getting rid of him because he's no good for America. He's lying. He's doing this. He's doing that. It's like, well, doesn't he work for you? Well, he works for me, but I can't fire him. Then he doesn't work for you. He works for himself. Then maybe as president, you propose a law and you take it to Congress to get lifetime appointments removed, or to get people who can't be fired, get that taken out or changed, or I don't care what you've got to do. If you really work for us and you're really this guy that is not one of them, then you got to step outside of that, and you've got to, and if you want to get the people behind you, you've got to be transparent. And he didn't do that with either one of those, and you know, which are the two things that he did that really irritated me. All the other stuff, the Orange Man bad stuff, you know, him running his mouth or the stupid tweets, which were embarrassing and all that, I don't really care. But the fact that I voted for him twice to work for me and he didn't work for me, sometimes I look at that as no better than these other people that don't seem to think they work for me. I mean, remember, creepy Uncle Joe told that auto worker here in Detroit, hey, pal, I don't work for you. You know, then he said, let's step outside, right? So these guys, they don't think they work for us. They work for us. Fauci works for us.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's about it for tonight. We've gone an hour, so I think I've done the best I can. Though we got a few more comments, so we'll go over those and we'll start wrapping up, I guess. Ghost Shadow says, at Night Strike, years ago, they had a method to clone and grow liver tissue. For FDA will not approve cloned tissue. At Night Strike, company wanted to make liver dialysis machine for people while failing livers. Okay. Mad Sexy says Fauci is bought. Armor Next says, at Night Strike, thoughts on sniffing Joe saying that the government was we the people. No, we the people are the citizens of the United States, not the government.
Yeah, once you become government like that, you're not we the people. Didn't a bunch of idiots cheer too?
Yeah. Well, it's at the Democrats. They're going to cheer at everything. They'll cheer at everything.
Right.
No.
I did say idiots.
Yep. Sean says the reason he didn't fire Fauci was because he had already developed a reputation in the media as a guy who removes all of his detractors.
He did a show where his catchphrase was, "You're fired. What do you expect?"
It's true. It's true. Ghost Shadow says that Night Strike, Pelosi is in charge of the press room. Trump blocked from all media. Yeah, well, he could start his own media company and then he can't be blocked.
Yeah, I heard a rumor about that, but
I heard
how
he was.
rumors are.
Yeah. Amazon Armament and Axis says, I don't know what I was thinking. Armament and Axis says, or is at Night Strike. I don't know what you mean. Sean says, before November, I paid $26 to fill my tank with 93 octane in a state with secured borders and no caravans. Today, I paid $49 for the same tank of gas and an invasion at my doorstep. Well, you're in Houston. You're not in Brownsville, so it's not technically your doorstep. Okay, Sean?
Okay, yeah, but that's the thing that I thought was kind of weird. The only time I went to Houston, I saw all the oil refineries, right?
Right.
And gas costs the same as Houston as it did in North Carolina. And I said, there's literally a Chevron station in front of the Chevron refinery. Like they could have had a pipe go into the refinery to fill the ground tanks, right?
That's how close
it was.
Refined
right?
yet. That's why it's still refining.
No, at the refinery, it's refined, and then it leaves the refinery and goes to pipelines to go to terminals where they load it in trucks and they take it to the gas stations. But the thing is, I was just stunned that fuel costs the same in Texas as it did in North Carolina, but they don't make fuel in North Carolina. But cars don't cost less in Michigan than they do in other parts of the country unless you use the employee discount, which you can use anywhere. But in some parts of the country, like when I bought my first new car, I was in North Carolina and I used my stepdad's A plan. And the guy at the dealership said, "What's an A plan?" I said, "Are you kidding?" Right? So with the exception of the employee discount, cars don't cost less here, even though we build them here. So it's just kind of weird that gas isn't dirt cheap in Texas.
Yeah. Armament Nexus says, but he said it at Night Strike. Okay, he said it. Okay, I get it. Sean says, no, they're taking them from the border and transplanting them in Houston and Dallas. Well then, Sean, you're screwed because there's no way of getting rid of them short of doing unmentionable things I would never tell anyone to do. Because there's no way to get rid of them now that they're here, unfortunately. So
let's hand them all applications for NRA membership.
Ooh. They'd want to send them back then.
I saw a fucking NRA bumper sticker on somebody's truck yesterday.
Yeah.
I remember just thinking, you fucking boomer fud.
I see that here in South Carolina a lot. There's an NRA sticker, but I can't get mad at them because more often than not, there's also a Palmetto State Armory sticker on the window too. So I can't get mad.
Oh, I can't get mad because it's like they probably believed the lie they were told, just like everybody's told that these. Once you donate to the NRA, money goes to help the fight. It's like, fucking fight for Wayne LaPierre to have a fucking golden toilet.
Sean, nobody will get that joke unless you're in here explaining that. Just saying. No one remembers that. That's a joke you made oh good Lord, it was like 6 years ago. 5 or 6 years ago, I think. It's been a while. Script says, I love the NRA. Wait, are you squib load or squib lift?
Well, I'm squib load out there, but I'm squib lift in here.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just making sure. I want to make sure I get the right squibs. Due diligence and all that. Joe Shadow says, Night Strike, Alaska has 11 refineries, has some of the highest gas prices. 2010 paid $5.27 a gallon for heating oil. FYI, they're also moving illegals from Texas to Washington. Idiot Inslee invited them. Yay. Sean is sad that no one but I remember the joke. Yeah, I know, Sean. I know. All right, so we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank Squib for jumping in and hanging out with us and giving us his perspective. Thank you, Squib.
Sure. Thanks for putting a link out there.
Yep. Mr. FNH, thank you for showing up and giving us your perspective.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Yep. It's out there for anybody to jump in. Anyone who wanted to jump in could jump in. So, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I always appreciate these chats.
So we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go get some dinner or something, or just kind of chill, because I had to watch the subcommittee this morning. Was just, it was like 10 people that were crying about the children, and if you do this, all the children are going to die. And the fact is that more often than not, a child that has a gunshot wound or dies from guns is usually shot by a criminal who has gotten a gun illegally in the first place, and not, a concealed carry holder whatsoever.
Hear, hear.
And it just irks me when they say that kind of thing. I support the Second Amendment, but no. It's either you support it, yes or no. There's no but, period. And with that, we're out. I'm gonna go yell at something.
I just need to use the screwdriver.
We'll see you guys later.